Hi, and welcome to the May 2024 installment of the Microsoft Product Licensing Terms update from the Software Asset Management team here at version 1. How's everyone doing today?
Great, thanks, Carl.
Great. So relatively quiet month in terms of product terms, probably coming to that part of the year when Microsoft are facing into their big conference season with both their external partner conference and their internal employee conferences taking place sometime in July. So it's not uncommon for some of the announcements in product terms to kind of die down somewhat in the latter stages of Microsoft's financial year end, which is in June. And then, we often see sometimes in July and August and September an uplift in some of those key product term changes or new licensing announcements and so on. So this month was relatively quiet. I'll jump in first and go through some of the elements that I looked up and looked at, should I say. So first of all, on Azure Communication Services, which is basically this provides APIs and tools to developers to integrate voice chat and other communications features into applications, whether they're on Azure or other hosted or other platforms, should I say. So since May 1st, Microsoft have included Azure Communication Services within the core online services table in its privacy and security terms. So what does that mean? It basically means that these services will benefit from additional security and data residency guarantees provided by Microsoft. Also on all things security and privacy, Viva Pulse. So those of you who are familiar with Viva Pulse or not familiar with it, should I say, it's part of Microsoft's Employee Experience Platform, or EXP, as it's also known. And it's designed to enable managers to send pull requests, or what Microsoft refer to as pulses, to team members, and allows managers then to review and aggregate results. So quite simply, in this month's product terms, we saw a slight update to Viva Pulse, whereby it's been added to Microsoft's EU Data Boundary Services table. So as a quick reminder for those of you who aren't familiar with EU Data Boundary Services, this refers to a set of services and tools provided by Microsoft that allows them to ensure that their customer data is stored and processed and managed within the European Union when that's applicable to particular customers in that region. Also sticking with all things Azure again, so Azure AI Studio. So for those of you who are familiar with AI Studio, it's like an all-inclusive platform designed for creating, accessing, and deploying generative AI solutions and custom co-pilots. This one saw a inclusion into the product terms, and there's some new language in there around integration services and model catalog registry, which I'll include a bit more detail on in the blog. Somewhat similar with Azure Databricks. So Databricks, obviously a third-party solution built on Databricks software that offers analytics and orchestration collaboration tools for developing and running machine learning applications. So there's some minor term added there this month, whereby Microsoft state any third-party models that Microsoft makes available in Databricks are deemed non-Microsoft products. So very small, slight change on that one. And then finally on Azure, this is the last one I looked at. So this is actually, there's quite a lot of detail in this one. But if you refer to the Azure hardware terms, there's been a change this month whereby Microsoft have added use rights for Azure Operator Nexus to the Azure hardware section. So this section of the Azure hardware terms includes quite a lot of detail. Probably talk about it for a good 15 or 20 or 30 minutes. So it's probably one to go and read in your own time. But in effect, Microsoft have included a whole bunch of definitions specific to the Azure Hardware Operator Nexus, also included things like near edge terms, warranties, among a whole host of other terms that may be applicable to customers that are leveraging that hardware. So that's all I looked at. So pretty much all things Azure, a few iterative changes there, probably nothing I would say in that material. So I'll hand over to, who am I looking at next? Niamh, do you want to go next?
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, I had a look at the Power Platform this month because, as you probably were, I'm interested in all things like RPA. So they've added in Power Automate Process and Power Automate Process hosted process. to the availability tables, and they've removed the Power Automate hosted RPA process add-on. So they've kind of tidied up anyway, both like the license availability and naming convention for once. So it's basically where Power Automate process licenses a single automation bot or a business process that's used in an unattended fashion. And then the Power Automate hosted process. This was interesting when I had a look at the licensing guide. So if you've licensed by Power Automate Premium, you get an attended, workstation bot with that license. But if you're running an unattended bot in conjunction with your Power Automate Premium, then you need, let's say, the addition of the Power Automate hosted process license. So look for, and then how does that concern with, the other licensing for unattended use, where you have the unattended Microsoft 365 E3. This is purely licensing, the machine side of things, whereas like the E3, the Microsoft 365 E3 for unattended RPA is, using all the Office and the Windows client and accessing Exchange, all that good stuff. So that was kind of interesting. And also then they updated the Power BI to remove the terms of use for data use and access for abuse monitoring. So I did have a look at like last month to see what that was about. And that was really where Microsoft said that, like, as part of the Power BI capabilities, they'll process, store inputs and output content solely for debugging and to monitor for and prevent abuse or harmful cases of outputs of the service. And then what they used to state was that authorized Microsoft employees may review such data that has triggered our automated systems to investigate and verify potential use. So it's kind of interesting that they've removed that from the terms of use for Power BI. But anyway, we'll see if anything else kind of comes up in its place, but for now it's gone. The other thing then that I looked at, and there's nothing kind of great shakes here, to be honest, it's the GitHub offerings, where they've removed GitHub AE, GHEM and GitHub Insights from the EA and EAS availability table, and that's pretty much it.
Great stuff. So William, I know you last on the list. I think there's a few Copilot announcements, another month, another bunch of Copilot updates. So yeah, do you want to jump into that and give us a quick rundown on what that change looks like, or that update looks like?
Yeah, thank you. So so what they've done is added Copilot for sales and service under the education agreement. So this is basically the Dynamics 365 Copilot add-ons. These are now available for educational customers. They also expanded the license prerequisites for Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 to include all Office 365 and all Microsoft 365 subscription suites, including frontline workers. So there's no minimum threshold either. So literally Office 365 Basic or Microsoft 365 F3, all these people are now entitled to have the Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 add-on, so they can be brought into line with full users, shall we say. And the other piece was just to touch back on Viva Pulse. So they've added the product titles of Viva Pulse and Entra Governance Frontline Worker to the EA and EAF and MCA availability tables and license prerequisites tables. So just really because of new products, new names, they've brought those into those availability tables, and that was that.
Great stuff. So still managed to get a good few updates in there, even though I did say there wasn't a huge amount to report on. So as always, if you have any Microsoft licensing related questions or queries, or you're looking for support around renewal of your Microsoft contracts, or for that matter, any other software vendors, please feel free to reach out to us here at the Version 1 Software Asset Management Practice. We'd be delighted to help you with any queries that you might have. So until next month, William, Niamh, thanks for your input today, and see you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.